Folks, welcome back. I'm Dan.
I'm Joe, and how you doing this evening, Dan?
Oh, a little tired, but hey, I wouldn't miss this for the world. Joe, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, Dan, in our series here, we're going to talk about some foreign affairs, and will India be a global economic power? Obviously, they're trending that way.
They sure are.
And according to the 2025 Power Index, they're ranked number 12 and one as most powerful country, but they are trending. They are in the top 5 economically.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know this, but way before colonization, during I think the Mughal Empire, it was one of the richest, if not the richest part of the world. Because while Europe was in the Dark Ages, before the Mughal Empire, I believe even, India was, well, what's now called India, was just a very rich place, has plenty of resources, has good geography, has navigable rivers, and lots of natural resources, if I haven't said that already. And there's just, that country has so much to offer.
Well, India is on an upward trajectory. Modi is the second prime minister in history to win a third consecutive term, which is 5 years. He's been in power since 2014. Yes, and India has trended upward. A couple of facts on India. They have, as of the 2024, now we're going into 2025, almost 1.5 billion people. Many experts believe by 2028 they'll overtake China.
They've already overtaken China. They've already overtaken China for number one.
Depends on what you read. Some say they have, and some say by 2028. So you can make that determination. I understand where Dan's coming from because I've seen 2 places where they said they have, then others say by 2028. So you tell us in the comment section what you think. So but either way, they're a rising economic power. Now, does India have some challenges? Answer is yes. So what is the hype around Modi's India, Dan? Why is India being hyped so bad, which remains a largely impoverished country?
Well,
so if that's the case, why is it hyped, Dan? Give me some reasons, Dan. Why?
Well, nowadays, because the middle class has grown significantly, there are more middle class people in India now than there are people in the United States. And so India has also taken over the tech industry in a good way.
Yes.
A lot of people have lifted themselves out of poverty. Infrastructure has been greatly improved. Now, here's the irony. The big challenge in India is, of all things, democracy. Wait, how could that be? It's because 1.5 billion people, more or less, have a lot of different ideas. And sometimes people say, hey, I want to build a freeway here. Well, the people say, no, I don't want it. Well, we have to do that. And there's a lot more bureaucracy in contrast to China, which just says, nope, this is government property in the end. We rule. We'll compensate you, but move.
Now, you make very good points, my friend. Now, why is there a lot of hype? Now, according to some of the data, which I'll show here in a second, yes, India is still very poor. Despite their massive population of almost 1.5 billion people, India's economy was worth $3.7 trillion. It is the world's 5th largest. It's jumped 4 spots since 2014. During Modi's decade in office. Now, even though India has jumped 5 spots, their GDP has grown between 55% between 2014 and 2023. Let me show you a graph on that real quick. And where is it, folks? I will get this up here. Give me 1 second. And India, right? Boom. Let's see what we got. Can everyone see that? If you look,
yes, now I can. Can you zoom in, Joe?
Let me see if I can zoom it more for you guys. So, let's see, is that big enough right there?
Yeah.
All right. So as you can see, we're covering some of the chart, but as you can see, the most important thing, you see the upward trajectory. Now, to be fair to the previous prime ministers, it was already starting to go up, but since 2014, it's jumped 5 times. And if you look at the pie chart there, India is plus 83%. So their GDP, out of the GDP of the top 10 largest economies between 2014 and 2023, and I know this is 2023 and we're in 2025, but look, I just want to give you guys an idea, an easy chart to read. You see the US's, but you see India popping in. And as I said at the beginning of the video, they're the 12th most powerful nation according to the power rankings here in 2025. So India, as you can see, and this is the source here, CNN's edition and the World Bank. As you can see, the growth of the actual is growing. The economy is expanding at a rate of about 6%. And but analysts say, some say it should target 8% or more in future years. The question is, though, even though India's economy is going up, they still have some major challenges. Like Dan pointed out, a lot of people are still poor, especially between the ages of between 15 and 29 years old. So India, even 3.7 trillion sounds like a lot, but for their population, they still have a long way to go. Because you look at the U.S. and other nations, that GDP is actually a lot bigger. Dan, what do you have? Anything to add?
Well, I remember almost a decade ago when I was in Nepal, I realized how much India had influence over its neighboring countries. SARC, which is, I think, South Asian Regional something cooperation, or anyway, I forget what it's abbreviated for, but India controls a lot of local economies, not so much Pakistan, but definitely Nepal, definitely Bhutan for sure. A Bhutanese national was the one who told me that the Indian government controls the Bhutanese government and its economy. And it has influence over Sri Lanka and Maldives as well. So it's already gained regional hegemony. And it's one of the bigger players of BRICS and one of the original founding members of BRICS.
And if you look at this top paragraph right here, like they're comparing to China a little bit. As much as China did more than 30 years ago, India has been focusing on infrastructure, spending billions on building its roads, ports, airports, and railways. Not only is this to benefit the citizens, but they also want to draw businesses in. That's one of Modi's deals. He wants to draw more foreign investment in. So not only is this infrastructure to benefit the citizens of India, but also wanting to draw business in. And maybe another video will talk about India's military, but right now we're focusing on economic power. When you have economic power, you can spend money on things like military and those sort of things. So, and here you see right here the length of if you look at India's national highway network since 2013 in kilometers, as you see, it's going from 2013 to, and again, I don't have 2024 and 2025 on me, but every year it's gone up.
Yeah.
Their natural highway, they're trying to do more tech platforms or digital public infrastructure. So as you can see, but here's one right here, Dan, stock market superpower. India's exchanges have surpassed over 4 trillion a year. And India has two major exchanges, the National Stock Exchange, NSE, and the BSE, Asia's oldest, formerly known as the Bombay Stock Exchange. So India has joined the ranks of stock market superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And you see to February 2024, and if you look, obviously the U.S. is up there, the NASDAQ. But if you look, the National Stock Exchange of India, can you see that number? 4.6 trillion. So India.
Something I want to add.
Go ahead. Please do.
See, this is it. For a long time, a part of the reason, not the full reason, but a part of the reason why India was poor was because of colonization. But now India is a bigger player economically than its former colonizer, Britain.
Yes. And of course, the humming factories. And this is where the Modi government has been trying to capitalize here. On their supply chains, international firms. They want to diversify their operations away from China, where they face major obstacles, of course, during the pandemic. And of course, really, even though China and the U.S. need each other, India realizes there's tensions between Beijing and Washington, D.C., and Modi wants to take advantage of that. And if I'm the U.S., quite frankly, as an America, I want closer ties with India. What do you think about that, Dan? Do you agree?
I do too. And also, I want India to become better. Look, when you and I were both growing up, India was synonymous with poverty. Even China was. And that's not so much the case anymore. How much they've raised themselves out of poverty, I'd like them to continue going at that rate.
And as we see here, India's growing manufacturing ties with tech giants like Apple, and they're a win for Modi's government. And as you can see, India and the rest of the world, the darker shade is India there. Estimated number of iPhones manufactured. Look at 2023. You have 25 million. So that's 204 million people, I believe. Until 2 years ago, Apple would typically start assembling models in the country only 7 to 8 months after launch. That changed in 2022 when Apple started making their iPhone 14 in India weeks after it went on sale. As you can see, Modi is trying to get more manufacturing. He's trying to draw companies in, as we talked about a few minutes ago. But there is some weak points. There is some weak points. Where are the jobs, Dan?
Are a lot of them outsourced, or I'm not really sure. I'm not sure the question.
It's far from now. The beef to see that, folks. If you're reading, if we are reelected, Modi has been reelected already. So this article is about over a year or so outdated, but it's still very accurate economically. Yeah, Modi's already been reelected to a third term, like we said. So They still need to create more jobs. There's a pollution problem in India also.
One of the India, along with China, is among the most polluted of countries, or contributing to pollution.
When you have a big population like India, you need massive amounts of jobs so that population can work. With the average age of India, as you can see, is 29 years old. India has one of the youngest populations globally. But the country, not all the country, has reaped the economic benefits because it has a large youth population. So as you can see in these graphs here, young people aged 15 to 29 were 3 times as likely as all individuals to face unemployment.
Yeah.
So as you can see the graphs here. So India, folks, has some challenges. But there's no doubt, folks, that India is a rising economic power.
Yes.
And maybe in another video we can talk about their military, but India for sure, I believe, is going to be a global player. Now, again, some of the numbers I looked at, some I've read, like we talked about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago in the video, some say India is already past China as of 2023, 2022.
In population?
In population. Then I've read a few that said 2028. So depending on either way, they have a massive population. They're neck and neck, whatever you want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And with that big population comes big challenges. So for India's government, for Modi and his government, is providing jobs, massive infrastructure, and also massive environmental challenges. So
yeah, that's right.
Some economists and some experts say India will be even a bigger player by 2047. Now, that's just an estimate. But I do think, especially from an American perspective, Dan, I think India is going to be a major player in current affairs in the future. And I think it's a good idea for our government to pivot and have a tighter relationship with India. Dan, anything to add?
Nothing to add, just fully concur.
Well, folks, we hope you like this. We're trying new and different things. What do you think? India a rising power? Will they be a superpower in 30 years like China or the United States? They're number 12 now. Will they rise in the top 5? Will they rise in the top 10? Let us know your opinion. Let us know in the comments.
And please, folks, like, subscribe, share, bang the notification bell. Meanwhile, folks, have a great night or day wherever you are.
Take care.